Hey Zach, we just heard super interesting talk about Finnish Companion and a great free tool to learn Finnish language. Can you tell us more about I understood that you moved to Finland and you realized that this is super difficult language to learn, but can you share more about how you started to solve this problem of learning this difficult language?
It started actually when I was trying to find the stem of conjugated words. I couldn't really find any resource, either online or on printed material. So I decided to actually make a component that would take a conjugated word and then give me its stem. That's how it started, and then I shared it with some classmates, and then I shared it also with my teacher, and then it slowly started to grow. When I was also attending my Finnish classes, I was using a spreadsheet that would do in real-time translation, so that I can, at the end of the class, have that long spreadsheet and then print it and learn it in flashcards, or use it in electronically in my flashcard app. And then I started to develop special plugins for my flashcard app. And then I decided to make my own flashcard app. And that's how it kind of evolved into a platform.
And how do you use AI to support this?
So AI, when we talk about AI, the LLMs, for example, the language models, they are used just recently, started to use them. I am someone who is very conservative and very prudent in using the LLMs without actual concrete narrow window of usage, and not just put it out there on your platform and let it kind of free and unsupervised. So concretely, I use it. For example, we have a tool that helps students conjugate verbs and nouns in Finnish. What we do is that we use that language model to generate specific words or nouns where the student enters a phrase and says, I would like you to give me verbs that I can use in a restaurant. And then it would immediately give it back a list of 10 verbs that he can use in a restaurant, and then he would actually learn to conjugate them. That would teach him how to conjugate and how to use that verb, but also memorize it better and how to use it. So that's one way we're using AI. Another way that we're using AI from very early on was to actually take an open source translation model that we have fine-tuned and even improved actually a lot after many hours of training, and now we're using it for real-time translation of Finnish TV subtitles. We're achieving this through this good performance model that we have even also quantized and kind of made sure that it's very performant. But in parallel as well, we in the back end are using very performant language so that it's almost real time. Of course, it's not real time, but it's near real time. As soon as the subtitle just arrives at the screen of the user, it's already translated. So that's another way that we're using AI. And then we've been thinking about other usages of AI, which I don't think are ready yet. One of them is to, for example, teach the students how to use, they get 4 pictures, and then they hear the sound of the Finnish word, and then they have to pick, especially for Finnish learners who don't speak Finnish and don't speak English. So they have to start somewhere. So we're thinking, we're not doing it yet, but we're thinking about using also LLMs to generate pictures. We'll see how that goes.
Nice. And then obviously Finnish language is the one struggle, but what are your major struggles during this whole development process?
Technically speaking, as a development, I think taking it's heavy lifting, especially when early on developing the engine, developing the language, the Finnish language engine. I really had to dig deep into the Finnish language logic. So to code an engine of a language, you have to know the language. So I did actually have a pile of books and resources to really look into the different exceptions and so on. It was actually very challenging. And I was doing that alone. But I always say to my friends jokingly that in Finnish winter, especially in my first year, I spent my first Finnish winter in Kuopio, so it was really, really dark. And I tell them, you either eat a lot, or you either sleep a lot, or you actually code a lot. I was just coding a lot throughout the winter, so I found some nice occupation. That was one challenge. And then I guess the other challenge is, I think, still trying to figure out how the ecosystem of innovation works in Finland. But I think that's a different discussion. It's kind of a big picture thing. But yeah, those were the more concrete challenges.
Yeah. Is there any learnings that came out of those?
I think yes. Be fast, fail fast, fail often, and fail quickly. I think that's one lesson. The second lesson is to also just pick the tool that you have. Don't necessarily look for the tool that you have fallen in love with. At the time, for example, I always have been, since my childhood, a PHP user, and it was very difficult for me to kind of detach from PHP and go into JavaScript. And of course, it was easy, and then I realized how fast I was able to go with JavaScript. But then, of course, when the platform grew, and 2 years later, then we needed something more robust, and I had to make a difficult decision because I had fallen in love with the Vue and Nuxt platform, which I really liked. But then some technical limitations and other security issues made me realize that I would probably go to a more traditional monolithic model. Not necessarily PHP, but something more solid and robust and mature. And that's where I realized I have to also accept the fact that I need to let go of that. But then I realized that you can still use JavaScript and you can still use Vue in those through inertia, for example, with Laravel, or through in Ruby on Rails, or Phoenix of Elixir, and so on. So it's still possible to use JavaScript on those robust platforms.
Yes. So now that everybody's going to learn Finnish with the Finnish Companion, is there gonna be? What's the development plans for the future?
Future is to actually first and foremost make sure that the engine is really perfect, that it's very performant, that it's delivering the promise and all the promises that are made. Right now there are still bugs here and there and so on. It's a one-person project, so of course I had people who had also been helping a lot, delivering on the different satellite apps such as the Alfred, the Finnish Companion Ninja, which is an Alfred-like or a Mac OS Spotlight-like bar that you can type in and quickly gives you back the results. Also make sure that all the open API that's public is safe and then adheres to safe and fair usage standards and so on. So have to really make sure that all of those kind of robustness are ready, and then the Android and iOS app are going to be released very soon. Those are like the major milestones that are going to be probably in the next 6 to 9 months. After that, I think today's conversation, especially in the Q&A and the stage, made me realize how also I probably should also think about probably open sourcing it so that other people who have the energy to develop it for another language, may it be Japanese, Dutch, or Ukrainian, can actually use it and be able to leverage the same principles, the same modules for another language. The good thing is that the text-to-speech engine is here, the translations model are here, the components are here, the engine is here. They can just literally input the dictionary data and the words, and it's voila. So I think that might be actually something that I would do.
That sounds amazing. But so far, the people just need to visit www.finishcompanion.com.
Yes, and it's a Finnish language learning platform, not a dating website, because many people have been telling me companion. And I was like, it's a companion who's here to help you learn Finnish easier.
It's a machine companion. I mean, we're Finns. We don't really need, human interaction. But I can imagine that would be too much for foreigners. Okay, thank you so much, Zak, for coming. And I mean, I'll hope to see you in the future events.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation, and hope to see you soon.